Hey everybody, welcome back to HMO Hear Me Out the podcast. We are your host, Juan, aka Quick Truce, aka your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster.
And Kevin, aka your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster, and welcome back to this fine Wednesday morning.
I'll never get tired of that voice for radio you have, brother. Never in my life.
Oh my God, is it really that bad?
It's not bad. It's like good. I enjoy your voice when you talk on the radio. I enjoy your voice on the podcast. Like I listen back and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker has like a sultry voice, and I'm sure the fans agree.
We on FM right now.
Dude, it feels that way sometimes. Cause me and you kind of have like deeper voices that we have a little. I feel like we have more like bass in our voices.
I've never been considered to have a deep voice. This is the first time that.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been considered like I have a deep voice. No, absolutely not.
I always thought the same thing about like myself, and then one time I was like talking to somebody, and they were like, "Damn, you really have like a nice voice for like radio or something." And I was like, "Thank you so much."
Yeah, that's kind of wild. I've never heard that because even listening back, I mean, we have the audio problem that I gotta be, living inside the mic.
Fucking the mic, basically. Yeah, you got your tongue in that bitch already.
Because even the last episode, I thought I was doing good, but like there was some points where I was getting tired, and I started leaning back.
Listen,
and I started going crazy.
This is the last podcast where we are gonna use the table and the mics. Like from now on, you guys are gonna see our legs. And if you're not ready for that, then stop watching now because our legs will be seen starting next week.
Yeah,
hopefully, maybe.
Very promiscuous.
We're getting
double digits.
No more fucking a leg review. I kind of revealed my leg in the last podcast. Listen, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Listen, I knew it before we filmed that podcast. I literally said, you can attest to this because you are my business partner, my co-host. I said, I don't like this because you see my legs.
He did say that.
I show my.
Look at this. My thighs all showing. Cause like when we set up the camera, that was the first thing. He was oh, my leg is out. I don't like that. I was like, my leg is out too. But he was like, yeah, but like my leg is really out there.
Yeah. So one of my coworkers was like, you're wearing booty shorts, and I'm like, I promise you, I'm wearing regular people's shorts. They are just rolled up.
Bro, men's shorts when they roll up, they become booty shorts. Bro.
Hear me out. It's hoochie. Oh my God.
It's hoochie.
Hoochie. Hear me out. Do not wear shorts unless they 6 inches above the knee. As a man.
I'm ready for the hoochivious behaviors to begin.
Yo, that hoochie weather shorts. But people were telling me like, oh yeah, you're wearing hoochie shorts, and I'm like, I promise you, these shorts go up to my knee. Like it was just the angle of the camera. It was just the way we were filming it that my shorts were a little riled up. Okay. But I promise you, they were regular size shorts.
The amount of men that commented on that is kind of baffling.
Listen, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen before we filmed the podcast. I was like, oh, yep, here we go. The leg comments are starting. Listen, I got a thick leg. I played soccer for a lot of years. I got a nice little thigh. I won't say my calf is normal size, Genetics kind of fucked me on the calf, I'm going to be honest. Like, I have little man calves, okay? Little man calves. My thigh, though?
It's up there.
Our guest Julian literally was like, it looks like you have a tumor in your leg.
Oh yeah.
And at first that was a little alarming because he is a bio major, so maybe I had cancer or something. But no, he was just like, you got a thick ass thigh.
Yeah, it was a very fun episode last.
I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite episode to record. I know a lot of people that were watching it said that was their favorite so far. Yeah, it was amazing. Thank you, Julian, if you're watching this.
Shout out, Julian.
Yeah, that was an amazing episode. Very well received. I'm very surprised that he thought it wasn't going to get received very well. We knew like off the jump that it was like, this is going to be cool.
I'm a as they say, a content connoisseur, the content commander, the content colonel. So I understand, like, before we even put anything out, I'm like, listen, this guy's well spoken. This guy knows what he's talking about. This guy's a conversationalist, much like us. So I knew, putting that out there into the real world, I knew it was not going to be something that was done poorly. And we didn't do it in a distasteful way either. It's not like we were here and we were putting, like, anyone on a pedestal. We just let you come on, tell your story, and, share your takes. And that's what the point of the podcast is. At the end of the day,
It's in the title.
We hear
need
me
people
out.
To come tell their stories, hear me out. Is like, it's not all about the jokes and the oh my God, he didn't put condiments on his hot dog.
It's a little bit about that though. Like it's a little bit about the hot take. The hot take. Come on the show with a hot take.
Yeah, but like the way I see it is also it's just people telling their story or like I have this to talk about. I went through this. Like just listen to me while I tell you what I went through.
Yeah, because hear me out, like, part of it is the meme, where, like, you see the pretty girl, like, the girl that's not conventionally bad on TikTok, and then all her comments are like, hear me out, I'm listening, hear me out. The way I just got in my hand.
To everybody.
Listen, I'm hearing everybody out. Like, that is the running joke. But at the end of the day, there are so many groups of people, so many people in general where, coming where we come from, and not even just in our own community, just outside of our community, oh my God, my English is bad today. But even outside of our community where there's so many people that are, like, disproportionately unheard.
Yeah. So
as Hear Me Out is this big jokey thing, because, it is at the end of the day entertainment. It is for fun. It is comedy. For the most part, we try to make jokes here and there. It is a way, even for the regular person, it doesn't take an uber celebrity to share their story, and that's not meaningful. You know what I mean? It's not any less meaningful when you're just some regular Joe Schmo guy and you just want to come on here and tell a story. As long as it's something interesting, like, we are open ears, and the world should be open ears.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, oh, when's the next guest? Or like, why are you having Julian back? Like, well, he was just here. let him get some more stories under his belt.
That motherfucker's live and breathe a little bit, bro.
Right, he was like, tell me more. I want more. And, like, no, we're not going to be doing a guest every single episode, because we already know there was petition to get this person on, or, like, people messaging like, when are you going to get me on? Hey, yo, hear me out. Stop asking to be put on the podcast. If you don't got anything interesting to say, then, like, you're not going to be on. You're not going to be here like, I went to McDonald's last week. I got a 5-piece chicken nugget, and then I ate it. Like, no, that's not going to slide.
Like, okay, so ask to be on the podcast. Let's clarify. You can ask to be on the podcast, but make sure when we ask you, like, don't take offense when we're like, well, what are you going to talk about? Like, what? Because we're not coming, like, if you come on as a guest, you're here to share your story. You're here to share your takes.
You're going to take the lead, basically. And we're just going to be reacting.
Not the lead,
but, like, we're going to be like,
yes,
wow,
we are going to be very reactionary. But, yeah, so if you get it, listen, this is like rule of thumb. If you ask us, when are you going to get me on the podcast? And we respond with, what do you have to share? And you get offended, you are not coming.
3-page resume on what you got to offer, what you went through.
Not even a resume, just enough that we're like, okay, yeah, this is going to be enough to fill at least 90 minutes.
Right.
We're going to have you for at least 90 minutes.
Yeah. We're not going to spoil who we already have, like, lined up, but there's a few guests we already have, like, not in the works. I would say, it's in the works. We're going to have to, like, HMOX
HMOX New York.
HMOX New York, but no, but there's going to be some cool upcoming episodes planned in the 10s.
In the 10s.
It should be fun.
In the teens, I definitely do want to have, I don't want it to be like a guest every pod, but, like, I do like the idea of having people on who usually don't tell their story, and maybe introducing you to, I don't know, somebody that you might not even have known, even because we are still very local, you know what I mean? And a lot of our core audience, outside of the reels that do, like, crazy numbers, is, like, a lot of people that we might already know in real life. And I'm sure me and you, a lot of people, this is going to sound like, it's like know us. Yeah, like, it's not even like syndrome. But we talk a lot. Or at least, like, I talk a lot, right? We talk a lot. So if we're in a room, we're going to be heard. Mm-hmm. But, maybe I introduce you the idea of someone that you never thought you might have even gotten along with.
Yeah, even then, I know some people that have been friends with Julian for a good amount of his life. We're like, oh, I didn't know that about you, or I didn't know that this happened. And it's like, it's just when you have a platform to reveal, like, stuff that's happened in your life, then, like, you can learn so much about somebody that you thought you knew everything about.
That's
like,
literally the cool part. I think it's just the way expression works is so vast, and no matter how much you might think you know somebody, there's still so much more you can learn. And there's different levels of, like, being comfortable with sharing something, because, you know what I mean? You guys don't understand how this setup looks, okay? But me and Kevin are just in a room talking to a camera into some mics. Yeah. So we might be more willing to share crazy shit to the rest of the internet, because all we see right now is a camera right in front of us. You know what I mean?
Look like it's on for real.
In front of me, I know it's on. I know we're recording.
If this was any later, bro, Demon Hours would come out.
But that's what I'm saying.
The 3 a.m. talks.
We should film one. We should film like a HMO After Dark. That would be crazy.
After hours.
But it is that level of just being able to like share your experience with more people than just yourself. And a lot of people don't even have a story to tell. And a lot of people just like to listen to these things, and maybe, I don't know, you just become more keen to maybe sharing. It's not even a matter of like sharing with us or sharing with the podcast. It's just more so a matter of sharing with other people. Once you see that reaction, that initial reaction, where people are like, oh, I kind of like what he's saying, or I kind of disagree, you're kind of more open to those ideas, where instead of being so closed off and in your own world, you're open to the idea that other people that you might not interact with aren't just NPCs. They're real people with actual things to tell, and it's actually really interesting to hear someone else's perspective. Yeah, we just live in our heads so often. It's a crazy way to live, but we do live on our head, like in our own heads so often, and just diversifying our community will allow you to, you know, be more receptive to a lot of different things.
Yeah,
I mean, said a whole lot of nothing, but
yeah. I mean, that's really much like what we have planned for coming up, like in terms of like who we're gonna get on, or like how it's gonna be, like the process. Like, it's not gonna be like an interview process. Like, if you have something interesting to say, then like we're more than happy to have you on and talk about it. Was there anything else that you wanted to like touch up on?
Just shoot your shot.
Yeah,
like, send us a DM. Like, it's really that simple. Send us a DM. If you know us personally, hit us up. But if again,
you're single, DM Quick Truce on Instagram.
If you're single, hit my line, whatever. That's that one we could talk about off the podcast. The thing is, like, bringing this is gonna end up turning into a dating show, bro. It's just gonna be eligible bachelors coming in and me trying to talk them up, and you just being the mediator of these conversations.
I can't wait for somebody to be like, yeah, my story is I'm so down bad.
Listen, that is basically the premise of this podcast.
Not I.
Being down horrendous. Okay, fair. Okay, one half of that's 50% of the hosts here. That's a lot. That's a high percentage of the hosts. Split. But literally, I don't know. Those are just some of like the regular. That's just some of like the business keeping, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just some of like the homegrown business. The housekeeping. That's what it's fucking called, housekeeping. But yeah, we have been having fun with it. I really like the reception of the last episode.
Oh, please. If you enjoy the reception of the episode, leave it in the comments. The guests can only take so much.
Dude, leave some love, man. That's our fault. We didn't train our guests better. And not that they need to be trained or anything, but like me and Kevin, been doing this for 2 months now. We have gotten a lot of hate comments in our day. You know what I mean? And even before this, I used to get mad hate comments on like Quick Truce shit. So
it doesn't even have to be troll. It would just be somebody with like a completely different mentality. And you're just like, stay mad, bro.
Bro,
like,
it's oh my god, dude. It's like because our reel did relatively well, right? Like 1,500 views, whatever, about the condiments thing. Someone literally responded like, "This is the stupidest take I've ever heard." I'm like, bro, it's not that deep.
Like let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. Like, God,
like,
damn,
bitch,
over some hot dog, over some glizzies, yo, the glizzy protectors out here, man.
Hear me out. Stop taking life so goddamn serious. Laugh a little bit. It's a fucking joke.
Yo, you're gonna end up bald, but with how much molding you're doing.
Dude, they stressed me out. They stressed themselves out. They're in our Instagram comments like, I disagree so much with this take. Like, okay, disagree. But you don't have to call it stupid. Like, it's not that deep. Like, I told you I don't like ketchup on my burger. You over here talking about this is the stupidest guy I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, okay, bro.
I already started a copy pasta, brother. That one guy that was like, this is the most cap opinion. Anytime I disagree with Juan and we end up posting that reel,
this is the most cap opinion I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, that don't even make sense.
It's just so unnecessary. Like, listen. Love the people commenting. Leave a comment is great for the algorithm, but holy, y'all are so fucking funny.
We need some love in there, bro.
We need some love. The thing is,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I talked to someone like, yeah, damn, we don't get a single love comment. What do we want them to say? Like, I loved it. Like, good job. I was like, yeah, like if you like the episode, then like you could say this was a good episode or some shit like that. I mean, we did have that
on YouTube,
on YouTube,
yeah.
And also on the actual like thumbnail picture. A couple of people said it.
Oh yeah.
Like on the actual reels, it's just nothing but people fighting.
Dude, I we said this on the last podcast, but I don't understand how things can get so controversial so goddamn quickly. Like, some things aren't even that. Like, bro, it's like the thing. I'm gonna go back to it because I still can't wrap my head around it, and we're still new, right? Imagine when we have crazy numbers. At that point, we're probably not gonna read comments anymore. Honestly, like. we just gonna be so desensitized to fucking comments at that point.
I can't see anything except for good jobs, and that shit was funny.
But
anything other than that is getting ignored. Hey, if you take a look at everything, you know which ones get the least likes.
And it's not even like we're above criticism. If we put something out that's like crazy, like yeah,
Let
of
us
course
know.
our takes
Yeah.
are a little controversial, but some people like even the takes that are mild, people are going crazy for. It's so funny. We love the comments though. Like, I honestly think they're so funny. Like I think they're hilarious.
We just sit in Discord and laugh. to
We
be
literally sit in
honest.
Discord and laugh. Like we don't care about the hate. It's just fucking funny. We sound like those two fucking TikTokers who's like we're the most hated podcast.
Oh, 03FM.
Yo, shout out O3FM. We did
03FM.
call
I see
back.
y'all. Yeah, I see y'all going crazy.
But aside from that, I wanted to touch on a very specific topic today. A rather specific topic. So, over this past weekend, me and Kevin went out with one of our friends. It was his birthday. We had a brunch. By the way,
shout out Chris.
Shout out Chris.
Happy birthday, everybody.
belated.
Woo, right
Yeah,
now. Say to yourself, happy
birthday
birthday,
in the
happy birthday.
Hear me out. Mimosas are one of the most dangerous drinks in the world, bro. I forgot where I was standing for like 4 hours.
There might be a video floating around where they were like, Kevin, how drunk are you? And like right as they asked me that, I almost fucking fell. And I was like, I just fell.
Dude, I don't know. Mimosas like sneak up on you. I was drinking them fine, and then 2 hours later, it punched me in the jaw and told me, "Get the fuck up, bitch." I was
You know,
scared.
The
I was
first time
scared.
I stood up, I was like, oh nah, I'm getting hit. And yo, Juan is a happy drunk. He is a friendly drunk. You know that.
I love that. I love that about myself.
Yeah,
Yes. Go ahead.
Because I've seen all the different types of drunk. There's the angry drunk that just want to fight people. There's the happy drunk, and then there's the crying drunk. You know, the I love you so much, bro. I can't believe you're everything to me. Juan is the happy drunk. He's like, I love you, bro. You're my favorite. You saved me. You saved the amount of time Juan said, you saved me.
Bro.
It was some randomness was insane.
Bro, people have saved my life so many times. Like, you guys don't understand. Because it's funny, right? It is funny as fuck. Because, like, you know, I was definitely under the influence. And I was definitely, you know, I'm a loving drunk. You know, when I drink, I get happy. I don't get happy, per se. But it's like, I'm more loving. I'm more receptive to
I
love.
think me and Juan spent more time hugging that day we went out than we have in our whole time knowing each other. And then he dropped that picture where I look like his son. Which is
You're not even that much shorter than me. That's the funny part.
Yeah,
You're
but
not that much
the
shorter
picture,
than me.
the way it was taken, I looked like I was standing with my dad. Like, shout out y'all if y'all saw. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
The thing is, I took it from the top angle, like top looking down.
Yeah, so I was like, my neck. Oh, sorry, I was talking to Scott. My neck was just like.
It's a good like little clip or whatever. Like I thought it was funny. I know, but yeah, definitely, you have to be around the right type of people to drink. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I definitely think that. I don't know. I'm not here encouraging drinking. Like, drink responsibly. If you are of age, if you're not of age, don't drink. I don't condone underage drinking, but definitely depending on the group you're with, that is how you will react. Because I've definitely been in situations where, like, you know, I'm not an aggressive drunk at all. Like, if I drink, like, I never ever get aggressive. I'm mostly just like, usually chill. Like, I'm more like laid back. I'm like
Happy.
yeah, happy. Like, oh my god, like I love everybody. Like, I just show people love. Yeah, which is, I know some people might find it annoying, but I get motivational as hell when I'm drunk, right? Like, I get motivational as hell. Like, one of Chris's friends, Omar, was there, and we started, you know, talking about, because a topic that I wanted to get into today, outside of the mimosas or whatever, because that's just like a whole thing. But the creative process, right? Hear me out. Results are the enemy. You have to oh my god, I have to fucking.
I got him.
This is stressing me out. Okay. Hear me out. Results are the enemy. You have to be in love with the process to fully enjoy what you're doing. If all you're looking for is the end goal, you're going to hate what you do every step of the way.
There's no reason to look at results first before you actually, you know, see a point where you're happy with yourself. Because you're going to be like, oh my God, I hit 100 viewers. I hit 100 subscribers or whatever. And you're going to get complacent. And this isn't a field where you can start getting complacent with yourself.
It's really true, though, because every single time that you take those steps into working towards a goal or something, if you hate every single step, the payout will never be worth it. It will never be worth it. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much fame you have. If you hate the process, if you hate everything you do leading up to then, you're just not going to enjoy yourself at the very end. And people talk about it all the time, and I like to talk about it all the time. To put yourself on a platform in any sense of like the creative world, right? Whether it's like designing fashion or just like actual like drawing art or like being an artist in terms of like singing or creating content, putting out clips, putting out whatever you're doing, right? Anywhere where people have eyes on you. If you don't believe in yourself, it'll reflect in your work. And if you're doing everything just for the end goal, it'll also reflect in your work. Because nothing you do without love and passion will be successful. I know that sounds so like, oh, but like it's true. It's fucking true. Everything you do without love and passion will not be successful.
Yeah, I mean, look at this past what? I mean, well, episode 9. Yeah, like 2.5 months now, or like a little over 2 months. Like if we started looking at numbers based on like our first week, first month, even now, to be honest, with certain like how many number of plays do we have this week? How many people are leaving a like or whatever? If we really focused on that, we would not be here, to be honest. I would just get super depressed and then just be like, yeah, we're ending it now. Plus, cause like, I mean, we could touch up on it now too. Like, you've been doing this since you were like 14.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like podcasting. Talking to a mic, but like making like music, art, or whatever the case. I've been like doing my own thing since like 2018, 2017, around there.
So 18.
we've been around the block. But even then, like, it's just project failing after project failing. Not it doesn't even have to be failing.
It's
just
not
like,
even failing. That's
it's
the
just,
thing. Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be failing. Just like it didn't get to where you wanted it to, or like you weren't necessarily as passionate as you initially thought you were gonna be, and then you just switch up to something else. But like, so far we haven't given up, and like, you know,
so far. That's such a depressing statement to make.
No, cause like it could switch up at any point.
Right.
Like if we ever like, not even at this point, it isn't about motivation. It's about discipline.
It is
like
about discipline.
How much
it
discipline can we like keep within ourselves to keep going?
I like that a lot, actually, because at a certain point, it's not even motivation. It's not even about the numbers. It's just about actually putting out things that you think are good. Because at the end of the day, if you don't even like your own fucking content, what makes you think other people are going to enjoy it? I have a friend, right? I don't know if I said this on the podcast before. I might have. You know, we're on episode 9. If it's repeat stories. But I have a friend who's a civil engineer, has done everything by the books, very smart guy, in a loving relationship, and I used to tell him, like, he goes on dates with his girlfriend a lot, right? And I used to tell him, like, bro, like you should do something with that, because like he used to have a coworker who was like, TikTok started going viral about like date spots in New York, or not date spots. Like, she would just go to like New York restaurants and be like, oh, this nice little cafe, or like my day in New York, whatever. And her TikTok started going viral, and I was like, bro, like, you should like low key start doing that. Like, you go out on a date night every weekend. Like, just record your place. And realistically, it takes no time. And that's the thing that a lot of people are worried about a lot of the time. It's like, oh, I might be consumed by this and not enjoy myself. And then one time he did it, and he was like, yeah, it took me less than like 3 minutes to like actually just record all the little clips. It was nothing. And I was like, yeah. And he told me, he was like, I felt some of the most fulfilled I've felt when I've created that and got a positive reception for it.
It doesn't even have to be like, I mean, I don't know, like, how, with what intention you told him to start it, but like I assumed that he was doing it for himself. He wasn't necessarily like, oh my god, babe, like,
let's go viral.
We're going to this spot. This is the spot where we hit 100K, like right here. Like, no, it's just like, it's even for memory's sake. Like, I know I started doing, like, when I was doing like YouTube gaming stuff, it was just to like save clips of playing with friends, or just like whatever game, like whatever moment. I just wanted to keep it for myself. If it like came to anything, like, I mean, that was just secondary. And that's really how, I mean, we're approaching this. Like,
that's how things should be approached. I feel like I think that's why I say results are the enemy. It's not my quote. I heard that somewhere. I don't remember where exactly. But results are the enemy, because you either get there and become complacent, or you get so hyper focused on the goal that you don't feel successful until you reach it. And it's really fucking hard to not get hyper focused on the goal. It's really not easy. For those of you that don't know, I am undocumented, right? Like, I'm on deferred action for childhood arrivals, so I'm on DACA, whatever. For those of you who don't know, it's not the craziest fucking revelation in the world. But I've gotten to a point in my own career where, you know, I just graduated with an engineering degree. I'm like looking for jobs, applying. I started applying late, so it's my own fault, whatever. But like, I'm applying, and I've gotten countless rejections for positions because I'm not like a permanent resident, right? I've gotten rejections, right? I'm legally authorized to work in America. I'm an American for the most part, outside of a piece of paper, right? Like outside of the actual physical paper, I am not an American. I mean, my passport blew too. Like my passport blew too. So
they're not giving you the benefit of the doubt,
bro. Like if I just flash it, I just gotta try like USA. But for the most part, like I've lived in America like 20 plus years. I went to all the American schools. I am an American by trade. I'm a Uruguayan by ethnicity and culture, let's say. But I got to that point where now I'm applying for jobs and I'm getting denied for something that's entirely out of my control. And before all the Trumpies come on the fucking podcast and all the Republicans like, oh, you should have came to this country legally, motherfucker, I did not have a choice. Okay, this is not how immigration works. I hope some of you learn about this. I hope for those of you that don't know, take the time to get educated. We could definitely, if people are interested, have a like very good podcast with someone who is very well versed in it, and we can talk about that type of thing. Because I do know it's a topic that a lot of people might shy away from because it is so like taboo and there is some illegality to it, right? So well, I don't remember where I was going. Okay, so sorry. This is a long-winded explanation for something that I wanted to explain. I remember having a conversation with my parents, right? First, let me ask you this. Are those conversations with your parents difficult? Like, we kind of touched it on the last podcast, but even, like, failing publicly to your family, right? Where you're like, maybe this isn't going as well. I feel like those conversations are harder than
let's not shy away. The same day we went to New York, I had to have this conversation. Oh, sorry. Let's not stray too far away. Like the same day we went to New York to have the birthday celebration, I had one of those conversations because my initial plan was like, okay, give me a year with something else. That didn't work out.
Right.
Now I'm in like my second year. My second year is finishing up, and like something still isn't
hitting.
Like not necessarily hitting, but like, you know, the idea that like my parents and a bunch of like, you know, people that aren't necessarily in tune with like, you know, social media and like whether it be YouTube streaming, like TikTok, being an influencer at all. It's just they're not in tune. Like you're not making as much as a doctor. You're not making as much as a whatever, like an engineer. You're not making as much as like the manager of a big company. So like the way they see it, they're just worried. Like your time is running out. Like, why don't you go do this, go do that? And like, I've always said this. I think I said it in my first year. I mean, sorry, my first year.
First episode?
First episode. Like, worst comes to worst, I will go back and like, you know, I'll just take that path if it's necessary. Because at the end of the day, that one episode where we talked about it was a different episode, bunch of callbacks. But you know, if this isn't putting food at the table or like whatever it is that I'm doing personally with video editing or whatever, if it ends up not working out and not putting food on the table, I have to go do something else. Like it's just like it is what it is.
I have a question then. What do you think would be that point where you say like I'm gonna hang it up and I'm just gonna go get my 9 to 5 and I'm gonna just do things the quote unquote right way? Like where this is a heavy topic. Like this is actually like a genuine like heavy conversation
this is
to
like,
have.
That's my biggest fear, to be honest.
That
like,
you're gonna have to give it all up.
Yeah, the thing is with me, I don't know. I'm not gonna say like, you know, I don't know when to quit, but like it's kind of that. Like I want to see something come of like being a creative. Like being a creative is so like, because before when I was like smaller, it was all about being like an engineer or like going to do an office job, and that was like my mentality. But once I started getting into the creative side, you know, playing instruments, doing art, drawing or whatever, I was like, this is actually cool. And I enjoy this way better. Like being a creative and doing stuff for myself is just way more fun than like, you know, listening to orders or being in an office job or just, you know, like I can't imagine working under like when even last episode, right, when Julian was talking about like his job, he didn't go into super depth of what it was, but when he explained to me, I was like, I could not do your job ever. I would literally get bored like so fast and just like hate my life. But like if that's what like you want to do, that's cool. Like I'm not saying like
that's wrong and
yeah,
this is
wrong,
right.
This is right. Yeah, it's just me personally. I want to see something happen, and it's like it's kind of like a burning passion. Like I want to see it happen. So my biggest fear is I'm gonna get to a point like, damn, 40, nothing's happening, but I don't want to give up. And like, it's really just how long my discipline takes me.
Yeah.
Or how far my discipline takes me.
It's just scary because like I'm on the same boat really. Like yeah, I graduate or whatever, but even then like I've genuinely even considered like staying like longer term with my current job, which has nothing to do with my career, just to get food on the table so I can pursue these things. But it's just the scary part of like, it's not even the scary part about failing your parents, about failing your friends. It's more so about failing yourself. Like that inner drive you have. Like I never want to see the fire burn out. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's a scary thought. Like it's definitely something I've thought of myself too. Because I remember when I was in high school and I first started like streaming and stuff, I had told myself, if nothing pops off by the end of college, like I'm giving up all this creative shit. Like I'm not gonna care about this anymore. I'm just gonna focus solely on being an engineer, being this 9-to-5 guy, just providing and taking that more traditional path. And I'm still in that process of battling like my own self-doubt and my own ideology about being, like I think about being older. Like I'm actually getting emotional. Like I think about being older and like hanging out with my niece or nephew or something, right? And like they're like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I still work at like this place that I've been working at for years. Like I haven't done anything. And it's not really a conversation that I'll like specifically like have, you know what I mean? But it's more so like that sentiment. I get scared about it. I genuinely do. Like it's definitely something that I've thought about for years and years. And even now applying to jobs, I know I'm not that far removed from college and stuff, but I get scared. I'm like, am I going to end up like that uncle that just, shows up to the family function and no one knows what the fuck is going on with him? But it's a scary thing. Do you have a cutoff?
A cutoff? I think, I don't know. Like I said, that's my biggest fear. Like okay, I'm definitely not like, oh, if I'm struggling on the street, I'm gonna make it happen. Like I'm gonna just quit my job and like put 100% in it. If I know that it's not 100% secure, that like, if I were to quit whatever else I'm doing and do like, let's say this for example, full time, I'm not doing it. But right. like I still have like, I'm still rational. Right. You feel me? Like that's another thing I try to explain like to like my parents or whoever asks. Like, I'm still like rational. Don't like it makes it like the way we're talking makes it seem like we're deadbeats. Like no, we are not just sitting at home. We still got jobs. We're still making it happen. Money. Providing. Yeah.
We still are able to provide for ourselves and our families even now. Even though things haven't taken off. I'm still working. Kevin's still working. Kevin's still the successful editor. I still work my job that pays enough money where I'm not struggling.
But if let's say 5 years from now, like people are gonna start climbing up the ladder of their careers, and like if we're still sitting here without not necessarily like a proper studio or whatever, hopefully if we're still doing this in 5 years, we got a proper studio. I mean, I'd be that'd be really bad. But like even like a 1 year thing, right? Like I need to see some growth. Like I know I mentioned this to you, like if in 1 year we're still very stagnant, that might be like not a breaking point, but I'll start wavering. Like, is it really worth it? Is it really something I want to like keep doing without seeing like results? And it goes back to that thing where like you can say as much as you want that like you can't focus on the results, but be it whatever it is, like going to the gym, starting a career, finishing college, it's always gonna be about the journey, so you could feel like some accomplishment. Like you can't, like as much discipline as you have, you can't just be given constant like not necessarily L's, but like no W's. Like you need something like to reassure you, and that's coming like from you guys. I'm looking at the camera, like the audience, like the comments or like the messages like, hey, this episode was great, I really enjoyed it. Like that actually helped us push through this past like 2 months that we were just sitting here like, oh, like let's set it up this way, let's put this here, let's have this showing, so it's a little funny or something like that. But I can't say that this past like few years hasn't been rough in terms of the creative side, but like I know my dad has been a lot of kind of motivation, because at first, and he's like, oh, if it doesn't work out, go do this, go do that. But like when I start telling him that like I don't know, like, how I'm feeling about it, or like, I don't know if it's like gonna fail or whatever. That's when he's like, basically, like, stop being a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you said you wanted to do it, and just like keep doing it. And like, I mean, like he put it into perspective. Like, even just to start in your career, it takes 4 years of studying. So I can't expect like something creative to take less than that.
Yeah.
Like like even just to like get the foot in the door, because like realistically, we're gonna be learning for the next year. 2 years,
More
3 years,
even,
yeah.
probably.
And like we're just gonna keep trying to improve the podcast, or like whatever it is we're doing. Like if it's making music or making art, editing videos, like we're always gonna be trying to learn from whatever it is that we're like doing from the next time. Like, and it's kind of like, you know, like we're analytics fiends. Like we're just like looking like, oh my god, people didn't mess with this one. Why? But that's something that you have to do. It's part of like the study process with all of this. And like for anyone out there that's trying to get started with like, you know, video editing or like creating for yourself, even just for fun, like if you, I mean, eventually it's gonna become a job. Like even for me, I love editing. I think editing is like still one of my biggest passions. I enjoy making funny videos, funny edits or whatever. But like after the first year, it was like kind of like, damn, like I'm not as excited to wake up and do this every day. After 2 years, it was like, yeah, I really am not like feeling it as much as I was when I first started. Maybe it was because I'm working for somebody else, or not necessarily the content that I would enjoy like making, or like maybe it's because I'm not in it. But it's gonna become a job. Even like I know like streamers and a bunch of like people that, you know, review movies or like they talk about it a lot. Like, oh, like at the end of the day, this is my job. Like I'm having fun, but it's gonna become work. It's gonna be something that I wake up to and have to do, and it's no longer something that like I can do or like am passionate about doing. It becomes like not forced, but like routine, and that's like, at least with this, it's not necessarily routine because we're not gonna be talking about the same thing like every single episode. So that's where something I can feel like I can get into it, and like my discipline would take me a lot farther than it was like editing the same, like doing the same types of videos, doing the same type of content, doing the same type of art or whatever.
But that's just like when I'm hearing you say these things, right? It just like in my head, it begs the question: if outside of podcasting, right? Just like you're pursuing something for a year, right? And it's unsuccessful. At that point, do you say it's unsuccessful because the industry doesn't want me? There's just no audience for this right now? Or do you look at it in a year and you say, maybe I'm approaching it incorrectly? That's why it's like it's kind of like that analogy that we were saying even before with like the diamond hands, like you can't stop spinning because you might hit the jackpot. At the end of the day, this isn't much different than gambling. Like, because we are putting a lot of time and effort into things, and I'm not even talking about just podcasting. This could be about anything. Like, that's what, like, I want to even like step away from the even just like the podcasting conversation. It's just whenever you try anything in life, I feel like there is a gamble. Of course, there are safer gambles, you know, like there is that traditional route where it's like it's a gamble, but it's a much safer one. There's still like, you know, more benefits to fall back on. But I just think sometimes that I've done it for years, and there's definitely times where I've like self-reflected and I'm like, is this failing because of me? And you know, Miguel's thing, it won't fail because of me, right? But at the end of the day, if you know you're producing good things and you know you're putting your best efforts out there and they're not being well received, then I don't know, it's just scary. And it's hard. It's hard not to like self-reflect and even think this way, because I've definitely been the culprit of even seeing people try things that I don't necessarily like, or like I don't necessarily enjoy to consume, whether it be like music or other types of podcasts and things like that. And not that I've necessarily been a hater or anything, but I've definitely been on the
why isn't this me?
No. I've definitely been on the end of like, oh, I know why they're not successful, or I don't know why they're successful. You know what I mean? I don't know why theirs is working. And it's not even coming from, and this is very just like an honest conversation. This isn't coming from a place of like, how do I explain this? Like, it's not coming from a place of wanting to learn, like, oh, why is theirs so much better performing than ours? It's coming from a place of why is theirs performing better than ours?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Does that make that? I don't know if you guys are like catching it, but it's like
competitiveness.
in a sense, it's competitiveness, but also I was saying this like on Saturday. It's like there is a level of self delusion when pursuing these things, because you never will want to pursue these things, not thinking they'll be good, and listen, like on my this honest, like that's gonna be the name of the episode, honest conversations about creatives. That's it. That's the name of the episode. But you sit there and think the same way that these people are putting out content that at least I know is bad, and they're putting it out with the same intentions as me of performing well.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to think, am I under that same fallacy that my product is good just because I'm producing it? Because at the end of the day, no matter how good the content is, there will be certain people that fuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, there's an audience for everybody.
There's an audience for
everybody has an
everything.
audience. You just have to
Tap
know,
into
get
the
in
audience.
there. It's very much like, I don't know, a lot of people, at least like with YouTube, people are, oh, YouTube is a skill. It's not like, YouTube is a skill. It's not like luck, but like everything has a little bit of luck in it. You have to like, not necessarily like, oh, you got lucky with this video. You got lucky like getting this promoted, or you ended up finding this person or whatever. But like the stars have to align with like whether it be the algorithm, whether it be the time you posted, whether it be the topic you posted it. You were the first one there. You were the first one to start something. But even then, you're not the only one that started this sector or doing this. You just have to get like lucky that people chose you instead of like the next person or whatever, or the next group or something.
Yeah.
But I'm losing my train of thought a little bit, because like it is something that's like a little bit like emotional.
It is.
This might hit home for people like at home that maybe tried something and necessarily like were told that it's not gonna work. Like Juan said, you have to be delusional in the sense that you're gonna be told something isn't gonna work for a long time.
Yeah.
A very long time until
it works.
Until you show
Until it
results. Like
works.
you might not have support on what it is you're doing until you have crazy results. Because even when you're showing like, hey, like I'm making like money off of this, or look at like how many people are watching me, there's like people are still gonna be like, well, it's not enough. It's not gonna be enough for people to, get to a certain point. They're gonna want more and more and more up until like what the negativity gets flooded out by positivity, and then everyone's hopping on the bandwagon. Because I know that's something that is gonna piss me off.
The bandwagon?
No, not the bandwagon. Like bandwagon.
Love
Love the
I
episode.
was about to say
bandwagon.
bandwagon.
No. But like in terms of like family or people I talked about doing something like this or doing something creative, and they kind of like brush it to the side, or like that's kind of dumb. Let's go to the next person. What are you doing? Or like you're done for pursuing this, and then quickly switch it up to like, oh wow, I'm so happy that you pursued this, or I'm so happy that you chose this path.
The thing is, while I get what you're saying, I also think it goes to that this is gonna be like a stark like a big contrast, but it's like those tweets when I see people like, oh, if you didn't like me when I was alive, you better not be at my funeral. In my head, I'm like, nah, if I die, like I expect more people to be sad than they were, even if they weren't cool with me when I was living. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why, while I do understand where you're coming from, like it's gonna upset you when family that didn't believe in you comes up to you and is like, congratulations. I definitely see why it's easier to congratulate someone than it is to believe in them in the earlier steps.
That makes it sound like very like, sorry, like the way I said it made it sound very like, what's the word, agnostic, not agnostic, but like like
I don't know,
everybody, I know it in
antagonist?
Spanish, not antagonist.
Say it in Spanish. Say it in Spanish.
Now I'm blanking. I don't know the fucking
my
word. Yo, I didn't graduate college. Yo. It's like where like you think the whole world is against you.
Right.
I forgot the word.
I don't know the word, to be honest.
And I know my girlfriend's yelling at me right now because
she knows the word.
Yeah, she knows the word. She's like, you use this every other day. But it's not coming from a place where, like, you know, the ones that didn't believe me, like, now y'all come and asking for my autograph or whatever. It's not really about that. It's more just because at the end of the day, like, certain family is looking out for you. You know, they want to, like, make sure that you're straight. They want to make sure that you're gonna, you know, put food on the table, get money, you know, be successful, and maybe end up in a better place than they are. But I'm more talking about the people that, like, just shit on your whole idea.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's fair.
Like, if those people switch up, like, nah. Like, like, by now, I already know who was, like, there from the beginning. Or, like, not even, you don't even have to be there from the beginning, you know, supporting every episode or whatever. But just, like, you know, asking, like, how's it going? Or, like, oh, I saw, like, this clip and I really enjoyed it. Like, I see y'all are still pumping out stuff. And it's, like, you know, this was funny. Like, me personally, I need some of that. Just because I know that let's say this blows up. This is going to be the first time in, like, my lineage successful. Probably that is, like, successful. So I don't know, it's something that's, like, kind of very important to me, where, like, it's not even if it fails, but I can't let it fail. It's not something that I can just do just because maybe it's, I don't know if it's, like, a Hispanic thing, but like, no, they won't let you live it down. Like, it's not something that, like, it's just gonna be something that's gonna be brought up and just joked about, and, like, I can't let it get to that point, to be honest, personally.
Again, it's this thing where everyone's like, oh, I don't care about public opinion. I don't care about what people think of me. At the end of the day, there is some reassurance in hearing positive things about your work. Mm-hmm. And listen, a positive interaction will always go a lot harder than a negative one. It's just factual. A positive interaction will always be way more meaningful than a negative one. That's why it's, as the same way that it's easy to hate, it's very easy to show love. And love isn't just shown in you know, like, reposting. It is in those small moments. It is in those small moments where someone goes up to you, like, oh, how is it going? Oh, are you guys good? How is everything? Oh, like, I see you guys keep doing it. Like, just keep going. I'm the type of person where I like to give flowers while people are here. You know what I mean? You know, when people are always like, oh, you got to give people flowers while they're here. Like, people die, and then that's when everybody. But I give credit where credit is due all the time. I'm always hitting up my fellow creatives. I'm always hitting up people around me, like, congratulations, I'm really proud of you. This is great work. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm the type of person to do that kind of thing because I know how much it would mean to me. And not and just to even go outside of that, I don't say that in expectation for people to say it back to me. I say it because I know how good that feels.
Right.
I know how much of an impact that has because I can read 50 negative comments, but if I see that one person like, hey, yo, this is really getting me through my day, I will focus on that one person to be zoned in.
It's going to go a long day. I mean, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, but it's just it goes back to that thing where it's so scary to think about failing all the time.
I mean, even we kind of had a situation like that on Saturday too. Like, our friend Opoku, like, hopefully we're going to have him on the podcast soon. Like, you were talking about him, and he was like, oh, like, I make music. And you were like, yeah, listen, I'm tapped in. Like, it's not necessarily like I hate the two sides of the spectrum where it's like people expect you to be either like, oh, I can't listen to every episode, bro. I can't, like, interact with everything. Like, that's not what anybody's asking. Yeah. It's just, like, to be aware of, like, you know, that I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. And, like, even if it's brought up in casual conversation, like, oh, did you know that I make music? Yeah, I listen to it or whatever. It's just, like, not reassurance, but it's like, wow, like,
people are paying attention.
Yeah, people are paying attention even if they're not saying anything.
Yeah. Because I am, like, I really am tapped into every creative in my neighborhood. Believe it or not, I know it sounds like crazy and a lot of people might call cap on it. That's fine, but you can ask people that know me personally. You can ask anybody, really. Like, I will support every single person that tries to do something, even if it's not in the creative assets. Like, people that are even, like, selling cookies, I'll be like, yo, let me buy 2. If someone's selling shirts, I'm like, yo, let me get a shirt.
Juan B. in his room for 3 hours, like, new creative just dropped.
No, but it's true. Even on the smallest details, like, I don't know, like, a coworker's daughter will be selling cookies. I'm like, okay, let me buy some cookies. A coworker will be like, oh, I'm raising money, here you go. Like it's not even so much so like having to be a creative. It's more so just I want to help, and it's not so much so that I'm helping with the expectation that people will help me. It's just helping for the sake of helping, because I understand. I get it. It's not fucking easy. I have a coworker who, she was like, oh, Juan, I know you know a lot about computers. Like, I'm thinking of like creating this studio so that people can use computers. Like, would you help me? And I was like, yeah. She was like, let me pay you. And I was like, no, just I'll help you. Like,
give me exposure.
It's not even about exposure either. It's more so just I understand. Like, I get it. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't, and that's fine. You know, we get on this soapbox and talk about supporting and support, and that's fine. But this is just like honest. It really is just honest. It's scary because you do this for so long. Listen, like, I've had days where, like, even I've been streaming for years, like 2-3 years now, and I've definitely fudged up the numbers so people think like I've been doing this for less, so it's not as embarrassing. But this is just me being completely honest. Like, I remember I started streaming in like 2019 or 2020 during quarantine. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna start taking it serious. Mind you, like, I had been streaming every day for like 6 months. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna start taking it seriously in February. In February, that's when it's gonna start counting. And then I did a year of that, and I was just like, oh, I'm in the same spot. And listen, 300 followers on Twitch over 3 years is not great. It's not good. If we're just being honest and open, it's not good. Do I think I'm producing bad content? No. Do I think that I should give up? No. But it's not even a matter of giving up. It's not even a matter of what my content is. It's just a matter of being scared to publicly be embarrassed like that. Because I've definitely, you know, like, played around the idea. There's definitely been times where I've made it sound like I'm doing way better than I am. And if we're being honest, it's to save face a little bit. It's embarrassing. Like, it's hard. It's really hard. And this is just like, listen, that's the name of the episode, Honest Conversations with Creatives. But it's I don't know if it's trying to convince yourself that what you're doing is the right thing, or if you're trying to convince an audience, or if it's a little bit of both. Maybe there's a part of me that's like, I need to, you know, fake it till I make it.
Right.
I need to pretend that I've been doing way better than I am. And I wasn't doing bad per se, but I wasn't doing great. And every single time I would talk about it, yeah, there'd be a little part of me that was like a little scared to talk about it. Not because I was ashamed of my work, more so just because I wish I had been able to do more with it.
Yeah. And
I'm the type of person that I think if I'm able to put my full force into something, I think I will be successful in it no matter what. And realistically, I've never been able to do that. Never. When I was streaming, I was in college and I had 2 jobs. I literally worked 2 jobs in college. I was streaming and I went to fucking college. I was pursuing an engineering degree. And I would tell myself, like, again, I don't know if this was me trying to convince me or who I was trying to fucking convince, but I was like, man, like, I'm not doing that bad. But hey, I'm putting in 40 hours a week on Twitch, was working fucking 40 hours between 2 jobs and taking 18 credit semesters for a fucking engineering degree. I wasn't like, how can you be successful? Yeah. How?
I mean, even now you're out and your PC just totaled.
Broke. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just different obstacles that get in the way. And like, there's just different obstacles that get in the way of like what you're trying to achieve in the moment. Whether it doesn't even have to be creative, it could be anything. Like even going to the gym and being consistent. And I know, like, you know, a lot of people, a lot of like big influencers and a lot of like not famous people, but necessarily like people with power that, you know, go on these speeches just like, oh, you can do anything that you put your mind to. You can like, if you really cared about it, you would set time aside for it. Which is like not true.
It's hard.
It's hard. Like, can it be true? Yes, but it's always like a trade-off. At what cost? The more stuff you want to put like on your plate is like less time that you're gonna have hanging out with friends, hanging out with family, hanging out with like.
I already hear the Instagram comments like, nah, bro, it's that easy.
Yeah, literally.
No, this is the most cap opinion.
No, but like it's not. I remember I saw like a clip from a podcast. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. It was like kind of like You know, like when you open up TikTok or whatever, you see something that's really good and accidentally refresh and it's
Yeah,
gone
yeah,
forever.
yeah. That pisses me
It's
off.
so terrible. But they were talking about like, oh, when you're successful, I don't ask like, oh, how is it or how happy were you or whatever. I ask like, what was the cost? Like somebody that's super successful, like spends all their time on a company, has less time with their family, less time with their kids, with their love, like with their lover, with their partner, with their, you know, with their spouse. It's always like about sacrifice, and it's not something like for me personally, right? I'm never gonna fully.
Oh,
I
fuck.
did it.
I
Oh,
was kicking the camera.
sorry. Oh
Go
god.
ahead. Go ahead.
I did it for a year, and like, well, quarantine kind of helped with it, where that year that I was just working to try and prove that, like, I can do this. I can do this. I was spending maybe 10, 12 hours just editing, just trying to get better, just to like prove that like this is working. I can make it work. But I wasn't going outside. I wasn't hanging out with my like family. I wasn't even talking with like my girlfriend, because I was so like honed in on like I need to make this work. I need to make this work, but it wasn't healthy.
Right.
Like I ended up going like for my checkup, and they were like, "Yo, like something needs to be done," because I was just like making the time for it, like
Yeah.
to put it into like what I wanted to do, but it just wasn't the case, and like I said, all these people are like, "Oh, if you really wanted to go to the gym, get 8 hours, and like do all this, like." You would make the time for it, but like that's just it's not the case. Like you only have the time for it if you have money, if we're being honest. People that are rich and like are well off, where they could just skip work for a week, 2 weeks, or just take all these mental health days, they can afford to do it. We can't. We
Yeah,
can't
it
go
just-
anywhere and just afford to. I don't feel like going to work today. I don't feel like working today. I don't feel like I'll just live off of what's in my bank account. Like it's not. We're not in a spot to do that at all.
And you can sacrifice, right? But it's like, what's even the cost of your sacrifice? Because I was going to the gym, and I literally stopped streaming because I was going to the gym, because I physically, like, I would work 9 to 5, go to the gym after work, and then I would get home like at 9 p.m. And like, what am I supposed to do? I have to sleep for the next day at least. I saw this clip too from a podcast where it was Chris DiStefano and Bert Kreischer. They're two comedians, right?
Oh, they're
And
talking about
their daughter.
seeing their daughters.
Yeah,
Yeah, that shit was tough.
They were literally sitting there crying, like, yeah, I just like all this success, all this money, but it's coming at the cost of seeing my daughter grow up.
Yeah, like seeing my daughters through a screen.
Yeah.
Just like.
And
then
we're young.
I
and
don't know.
shit,
I don't
but-
know who. I don't know. Like I can't separate them by name, but the other guy was like, I wish I could tell you guys better, but it doesn't.
Oh yeah, Bert Kreischer. Yeah.
And that shit was crazy. That was a crazy way to end the clip.
The thing is, like, sacrifice can happen, and there's a part of me that wants to agree with it. That it's like, if you want something, you'll make time for it. But sometimes I hear that from women I'm pursuing, right? Like this is like gonna go like a little off topic, but like I'll hear it. They'll be like, oh, come see me, like, oh, if you wanted to, you would. And I'm like, yeah, I want to, but like I can't. Like I just can't. There's not enough time in the day for me to go talk to everybody. There's not enough time for me, if I want to do all these other things, for me to just fucking block out a time of day and be like, yeah, let me fuck all my other responsibilities and let me just go do this. It's not that simple. While it is like possible, right? It's not that simple. It's not. There's so many things I would have to give up to do things that I might not even want to do. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That is kind of like off topic, but it's just like a conversation you have to have with yourself sometimes, like recognizing what's the most important thing in your life. And we're still young, like we're still 22. We're still fucking young as shit. We still have so much time. But the thing we don't have is a safety net. Whereas, like, being first generation Americans, being first generation, workers in America, even, it's hard because while some people have the luxury of even having parents that could be like, listen, yeah, you could take that year off. But we don't have the luxury of, listen, our parents are going to retire and they don't have a 401k. They don't have savings. They don't have things that they can fall back on that they could.
Exist in South America.
It's not even just in South America. It's being in a low income household, being in a low income city, growing up around other low income people. And I'm not blaming it on poor people. The problem is when you're poor, you're disproportionately disadvantaged because you're not giving the same benefits as other groups of people in America.
There is no like retirement plan. Like I am the retirement.
I'm a walking 401k. But and it's not even to shit on my parents either, because it's not their fault. It's not their fault. And I'm sure there's plenty of kids too who have parents that are better off that don't get that opportunity either. But whereas some kids might have, I never knew what a college graduate looked like until I got older and I had friends that graduated college. I never knew what a professional, not that I'm not calling my parents professional, right? My dad is a professional, my mother's a professional. But I never knew what, like, let's say a teacher looked like outside of school. I never knew what an engineer looked like until I had friends that were in engineering. I never knew what, these typical collegiate careers look like until I got older and I met these people who were in these collegiate careers. The first doctor I ever met, my brother-in-law, like outside of everything, it's scary because it's the blind leading the blind. Mm-hmm. And if you don't yourself become more in tune with what the fuck is going on, you just get stuck. And you get stuck and you get stuck. And back to, like what I was talking about earlier that I never even got to the point of, where like the whole being undocumented thing, right? Where I'll never give up, but when we were talking about like what age or like when you would hang it all up, I don't think I ever will, but I get the people who do. I was telling this to my parents like verbatim. I was like, listen, like I did everything the fucking right way. Went to middle school, got great grades. Went to high school, got amazing grades. Went to a prestigious university. Okay, prestigious, but I went to, I got an engineering degree. I did well in school, and now I'm at the final steps of of the right way, right? I'm at the final steps of the right way. I am at the final steps of the right way, and I'm being punished for something that's not in my hands. So while I won't give up, and I'm still applying, still trying to find a job, I'm still trying to find a position, I get the people who just give up. Like, I fucking get it, because I've been in that fucking pit. Like, I get it, bro. Like, at a certain point, who the fuck won't get tired of fighting? Like, motherfucker, I can only get punched in the face so many times. I fucking get it, yo. Like, how many times can I get punched before I get knocked out? That's really it. Like, some people just got a stronger chin. Some people just sit in there and get fucking beat. But other people, and the people who do get fucking punched in the chin and get knocked the fuck out, I get it, because I'm like, yeah, I just got a little stronger chin than you, but that punch was hard as fuck, so I know why you sleeping on the floor right now. It's real shit. It's scary to think about sometimes, because you've been in those places. You are in those places sometimes, and you just have to find it in you to fucking pull yourself out. And even then, there's so many other things that go into it, because, like, I was at least blessed with two parents who, don't do drugs, don't let me starve. I have food on the table, I have clothing on my back, I have a roof over my head. They're together, they supported me throughout college, supported me as in like, like Go Juan, basically, not financially or anything like that. I went to school free, flex. But yeah, there's so many just factors that go into it that you can't just sit there and be like, well, you should have done this. Because, motherfucker, that's not how the world works. Yeah. It's just not.
I mean, I feel like we could keep going back to the same topics, because it always happens. I go home and I'm like, damn, I could have said that. Or I could have said this or whatever. But, like, when we sit here and just talking into our mics, it's like we don't have a script. Like, say this. Say that.
I was like looking. I was like, what the fuck is that talking about?
I'm looking towards the script, if there is one. But it's just, I don't want to just go back to it and go back to it. Like, I'm gonna just leave off with this topic, like with the whole creative thing and just like making it work. Like, when are you stopping? Realistically, I don't know when I'm gonna stop or when I'm gonna like give up. Like, when I'm gonna fall, basically. When I'm gonna give up and just take that last punch and just fall and just stay down.
Yeah.
But I want to leave. If I end up leaving the space and just giving it all up and doing going to a more traditional path, I want to be able to say that I gave it a very honest shot, and that, like, with that shot, it was everything that I could possibly put into it.
Yeah.
Like I know my band director, shout out. Not gonna name drop, but
I was
high school band director, shout out. But he, before every performance, he would tell us to play as if it was our last concert and to not feel like we could have given more. And that, like, from there, that's just how I do with everything. Now is just with this, like, podcasting thing and, you know, posting reels, posting videos. I want to, like, I'm going to edit the fuck out of the reels. I'm going to put as many, like, much, like, good content as I can out there because, I mean, I was saying, like, you know, I was a creator for, like, 5 years or whatever, but, like, not all of it was disciplined.
Right.
Not all of it was the best I could give it. So there's some, like, years or months or, like, sections of time where I can't even count it as, like,
trying your
yeah,
best.
because I wasn't doing my best. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be dropping everything to do it, but it also doesn't but that means that I'm not going to, you know, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it you know, when I'm feeling motivated, because motivation only takes you so far.
Yeah.
I may be motivated a minute out of every day.
Okay.
It's mainly just discipline. Like you'll see a video and in that moment, or like you'll see something, you'll be like, oh my God, I can do that too. I can go to the gym. I can do this too. But to keep on track or just to follow a routine, there is no motivation. It's strictly just discipline. And I want to be disciplined enough where a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whether I'm still here or whether I'm not dead. But
Yeah, the way you're saying is like motherfucker just died, bro.
not like I'm dying. You know, the way my body works, maybe. But,
Maybe.
but like, just in terms of like, if I'm sitting down recording something 3 years from now, 5 years from now, looking back at everything I've done or where I am at that point in time, I gave it the best that I could.
I say something similar all the time, because I always say I'd rather have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. I don't want to be fucking 50 and look back and be like, damn, if I had put my best efforts into podcasting, like, what could that have been? I'd rather have put my best efforts into it and have failed terribly and nothing fucking come of it than to sit there and be like, damn, what if? But, it's just a matter of putting that best foot forward. I always say, you know, there could be that one viral moment, right? I don't know if I said this on the pod, but I definitely said this to you in person, where it's like you can have that one fucking viral moment where your clip blows up, the reel does amazing. We got 2 million views on the reel, 6 million on TikTok, hundreds of thousands of likes across both platforms on TikTok and Instagram, right? But if you can't hold on to that, if people look at that clip and then they want to see more of you, and they look back at everything else and they're like, oh, this shit all fucking sucks, they're a one-hit wonder, no one's gonna fucking come back. So as long as you put your best foot forward in everything you do, listen, a viral moment is only a viral moment unless you have the work to back it up. If you want a viral moment to become a viral podcast, a viral piece, a viral something, you need to have the catalog. Like, you need to have the catalog. The best clothing brands don't have one piece of clothing. They got mad clothing that you can buy. If you don't like that hoodie, they got another hoodie you could buy. If you don't like that shirt, they might sell socks. Holy shit. They sell shirts and socks. Fuck,
Genius.
I'm gonna go shop at Gap, because if there's a shirt I don't like, there might be some socks I like. Holy. That's crazy.
Concept. Yeah.
But it really does apply that much into your own shit. Because if you have that viral moment, people might hate or might love it. But as long as you have all that other shit to back it up, there might be something they like. So they're like, hey, I'm going to come back here because, yeah, while I don't like this one, I really like this one. Or while I really like this one kind of sucks, but I really fucked with this one. So I'm going to tune back in. Listen, on a lighter note, if I died, how long would you wait until you drop another podcast episode?
30 seconds. I'd get that text. I'd wait that text and be like, yo, back with your host, Kevin, and just start crying live. It'll be the first live stream we drop on HMO.
Dude, just
HMO
make sure
X funeral.
Make sure the fucking thumbnail is just like me with like an X over my face.
No. You know that picture where they have all the people that are in heaven.
Oh,
I'm gonna just put you right in the middle of it.
you're gonna start that tweet where it's like, oh, Queen Elizabeth is playing basketball with this dead person,
Yeah.
and then the ball rolls over and you're like, hey, can I get one more? They turn around and it's Quick Truth.
Yeah. Yo. Juan has told me.
Oh my god, I keep kicking the camera. Go ahead.
Juan was drunk as fuck and was like, yo, if I die, you gotta drop an episode the next day. You gotta let him know who Quick Truth was, and you gotta be there crying. You gotta be there promoting me. Cause like, if I die, it's gotta be good content. Good content. Put a skeleton or something, but it's gonna be good content.
Listen, bro, people might hate, but yo, don't capitalize on other people's death. But like, your co-host, like, bro, listen,
Capitalize on mine.
capitalize on mine. I don't know, but yeah, shout out Quick Truths. Listen,
A
since
real
we're on
one.
the topic of streaming a little bit, Twitch recently banned our favorite thing.
Wow, y'all might get sad because I know how much y'all really like that reel and that
Yeah,
when we talked about it. But Twitch
it's banning
banned
gambling.
gambling. Isn't banning. They banned it completely.
banned that
Banned
shit.
gambling.
How do you
Yeah.
feel about that?
I personally, not that I'm indifferent, but I'm not gonna be like, no, man,
Yeah.
that was my favorite. But I definitely think that it was taking up a big majority of the platform. Like every streamer, everybody that was like, content creating was doing something with gambling, whether promoting it, whether watching somebody else do it,
Mhm.
whether, blowing 50K and then posting a YouTube video about it. It was all over the internet. And it got banned. I can't say that I agree with some of the reasons that people are like happy that it's banned. Like I'm completely.
Is there
yeah.
a hear me out coming?
Is there a hear me out coming? Let me brainstorm it because I'm gonna be there like and then. But there's some people that didn't want it to be on the platform because they were tired of seeing it. They wanted their favorite streamers to do something else. And with that, I'm just like, hey, if you're a streamer, clearly you don't like him no more. Go watch somebody else. Give somebody else a chance. But
Yeah.
another reason. Well, wait. Before we get into the reasons, let's say why this all started. Right? Do you know why it started?
Oh,
You know,
because
like-
of Slicker.
Yeah, Slicker. For people that don't know, I didn't even know who he was, but
I
He was-
knew kind of.
I don't know if he was partnered with the casino or like if he got like a deal with it. But basically, he scammed his fans and a bunch of people out of $500,000 just so he
Half a
could
mil, bro.
50K.
Half a
And-
mil is not 50K.
Wait, sorry, 500K, yo.
Someone get a fucking math tutor in this bitch, bro.
Yo, it's been a while since I've been in the class.
Your
but
math teacher just got
Yeah.
shot in the back alley.
Yeah,
just
I
now.
imagined the zero. I just didn't say it. But yeah, 500K just gone from his fans and just given to a slot machine.
That's crazy. It's
Yeah.
really crazy.
I can't get over it.
like I want to throw a hear me out in it, but it's just crazy because I don't know how much. I never lend money that I would ever want back. If I lend you money, I consider that money gone. If you want to pay me, that's on you. Like you have to like. I'm never gonna chase somebody to pay me back. Never, ever, 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 ever. Like the responsibility is entirely on you. I won't look at you differently, but obviously I'm not gonna lend you an egregious amount of money. But some motherfucker was asking his friends for like 10, 15K,
Yeah,
like 3K each.
Yeah, can I get 10K? Can I get 20K? It's just I didn't pay tax or whatever. He just like, well,
Bro, if
addicted,
you
bro.
asked me for 10K, I would spit in your face. And I love you, and I would spit in your face.
Y'all
You asked
heard
me
it
for
here
$10,000.
first, but he not a real one.
I would spit in your face so fast if you asked me for $10,000. Even 1,000, bro. That shit is crazy.
That's a crazy amount of money to just to give away, yo.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so insane that people actually gave that shit away.
He was like paying people back, and like he was like a relatively big streamer, so people were more willing to do it. But it's fucking crazy to think about because, in what context are
Is
you?
that okay?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like those. You ever get those like scam like emails where it's like, "Hey, I just ran into my father's fund and he left me his estate and I have $1.1 billion. I need to know what to do with it. Do you want any?" Like,
Yeah.
yes, I want.
Or even then, like I know, cause I started leaning back. I know my mom, like she's gotten this a lot. Like there'll be people that impersonate her,
Yeah, yes,
or
yes,
like
yes,
they'll
yes, yes.
like I've had somebody impersonate me, like for my
Mm.
grandma, and they were like, he was like, yo, they they sounded just like him, and I thought I was so scared we were about to send him $500. But they like luckily they called first. But there's been people that haven't called first, and they've just given somebody $800 for no reason, and it's like, dog, like, one, you gotta have a brain. I'm sorry, but they were like, yo, you gotta help us get back this money. Like, help, like, pay me some of that money back. Like, it wasn't my fault. That's on you for being dumb, for not confirming. But I get it. Like, sometimes you hear something crazy, like, oh my God, there's been a huge accident. We need this money now. You're just like, in the panic, you just, send the money, or like you're not really thinking straight. But I mean, hey, if you're at all rational, you gotta check your sources first.
That happened at like my uncle's job. They hacked like the boss's WhatsApp, and the through the boss's WhatsApp, he was messaging all his workers like, "Oh hey, like I locked out of my account. Can you send me $800?" And people were sending it to my uncle. Didn't, thank goodness, but people like sent it to him. The scams are getting too fucking good, yo. Like they're getting too goddamn good.
They're evolving.
How do you feel though that like Twitch took that stand? Well, like even outside of Twitch, like how do you feel about those companies like mediating what type of like content can be on their platforms?
I mean, definitely something as addictive as like gambling should be on watch.
But what about stuff like drinking alcohol or smoking?
I feel like, I mean, like people
should
like
those companies police what content people are consuming? I'm just like, I'm just throwing that question out there.
I gotta remember what the first question was before the next four got thrown at me. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Well, I'm gonna just start off with whatever question I'm answering right now. But I think that like there is definitely a stigma around gambling. Not a stigma, like
no, it's
not a stigma. It's pretty bad.
Real.
It's pretty bad.
It's real.
Yeah, like gambling addiction is very fucking bad. It'll ruin your life. But that's the same thing as like drinking or smoking or doing drugs. I know some of it isn't allowed, but like, there's also been like a thing that blew up where somebody had sex on Twitch and they got banned for a week, and then they did it again.
No, I saw the second time. It was actually fake. She didn't do it again.
Oh, she didn't do it again? All right, whatever. No. But like, that she did it the
bro,
first time.
I'm tapped into her streams now, bro. I watch the streams often now. Okay.
He's like, oh, I didn't know.
Come on, bro. I was in the second stream, bro. Come on, bro. Send me the link, bro, please.
Yeah, like something like that gets banned for like a week, but like something like gambling, like yes, like gambling is addictive, but there's also people that after hours streams where people are just drinking, and I know people are like, oh, but like there's young people that are here, and it's like very impressionable to like throw all this money, they could get a VPN, connect to Canon, and do all this, and it's so easy. Like, I mean, if you're not policing what your children are doing or what they're watching, like I feel like that's on you.
Yes and no, right? Because how much bad shit did you watch as a child that your parents didn't know? Like, bro, I was on my Nintendo DSi looking up like girls kissing, or like I used to. Wow, this is embarrassing to actually tell on the internet. But I used to even like when I had an iPod, I used to be on iFunny, and I knew one profile where it was like just girls kissing or like taking off their tops, and it wouldn't even because like iFunny you couldn't show nudity, so it would be like them going like this, and then the video would cut off. Like it would be a GIF.
Right.
And like, you think my parents ever knew that?
Well,
like,
no, but like, that's not something addictive. There's people watching this like hours on end, and like even.
But it's not even that. It's not even that. But it's just the sole fact of policing.
Well,
like,
no, because this is the same topic of like people that buy their children like games like Call of Duty or GTA, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that they have this going on. Like in a video game, like my child is playing it. Like these games are 18 plus. Like if you're not okay with your child like playing this or doing this, like you should know that your son is out here shooting people in this game. Like I feel like that's like not crazy out of this world.
It's not.
Or like policing, like, oh, like what does my child like to watch on like, because like realistically, like watching like a streamer isn't like something that you have to hide. Right. So you know what they're watching, like explain like, hey, like this isn't okay, like, well, like it's okay, like, but it's strictly for entertainment. Like you're not like, this isn't something that you can go do and win big and
I don't
like,
know
make it happen. But that's the same thing with like alcohol. Like you're seeing people drink, but like that doesn't necessarily, like, just because you're watching somebody drink doesn't mean that they're gonna go and buy like 10 bottles of Hennessy and just like,
but it
drink
does
it does
normalize it more. Like I definitely not even like, I don't even really consume that much gambling content in general. And we sound like degenerates. We're talking about gambling on this goddamn podcast. But like, I don't consume that much gambling content in general. But even then, it's like definitely normalizes it like crazy, because even like as an adult, I'm like, oh, gambling looks way like gambling looks fun as hell. Like gambling, it looks fun, and I'll be watching those streams sometimes. Like I catch myself where like I'll be bored when I was still in college. Like streamers used to stream that shit, and I used to just be doing work and like having like a gambling stream on in the background. Not because I'm fucking addicted, but just because like it was like entertaining. Like it was something funny to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it definitely does like make you more keen to want to a little bit. It definitely a little bit.
100%. Yeah. I'm not saying like, oh my god, like people are tripping. Like I definitely feel like it should be monitored. Like 100%. Like, cause like I consume gambling content. You know, I like gambler family.
But you consume it as a fucking degenerate gambler though.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I can't watch these streamers. They start yelling, they start getting like crazy, and I feel like this for me personally, this isn't healthy for me, because like when they start going crazy, like, oh my god, bet everything, max bet, like low key, you're just like not necessarily getting
He's
hyped,
spitting.
but like, yeah, maybe I could do that. It's not that, like I consume like chill people that know like, you know, it's time to pull out, it's time, you know, it's entertainment or whatever. They reassure you like, yes, these streamers like reassure you or whatever, like they put it like, call this number if you have an addiction.
Oh yeah.
Like while they have an addiction. But no, like it's definitely something that should be monitored. Completely removed, I don't know. That's not my call. I think like to have it on the platform. Yeah. Twitch, you can remove it. I give you.
Kevin. Thank you for letting us know.
But I don't know if it's something that needs to be like completely removed from the platform, or if it's something that you need to be verified to watch. Because even like the after hours stuff, right, where like they're drinking, cursing or whatever, like, oh my god, like
you need to have an 18 plus account if it's for mature audiences.
Yeah, you do?
I think so. I think you need to verify your age. Yeah, you could finesse like.
Yeah, you could just.
I had a Facebook account at like 13.
Right,
you know?
like my Facebook age is like 1990. Because I was like, yo, I need this. I need to talk to my friends. But like, there's just ways to get around it. But like, if it's really that necessarily that needs to be policed, because there's people like, you know, they want to watch the streams, or they like have a good head on their shoulders that don't necessarily need it to be banned. Like, there should be a way for it to, you know, be available to people that want to watch it without necessarily promoting it to everybody on the platform.
But I feel like that can go even further outside of even just like internet shows, right? Because that new Jeffrey Dahmer fucking like show that's like going crazy. Like, hear me out. We don't need any more serial killer shows. Y'all not even asking the fucking families anything about this shit. They're just straight putting this stuff on the internet or wherever the fuck they're putting it, and letting people consume this content. Like, this is crazy to me. Is that not crazy? Like, that's crazy to me.
I mean, I consume the content. I'm not gonna lie. But because I like true crime to me is like interesting. It's not necessarily like, I feel like I was talking with Miguel about this, and he was like, because I was like, do you know about Jeffrey Dahmer? Because I saw the first episode with my girlfriend. And
we get it.
My God. And not a lot of shit makes me uncomfortable. Like that's gonna be crazy, bro. But I was telling my girlfriend the same thing, and she was like, "That is insane. I can't believe you just told me that." Because I was talking about, I was like, I like the Saw movies. Like the Saw movies are interesting to me, and I was like, I would have like, you know, a good meal and just watch a Saw movie. And she was like, that is so crazy to me. And I was like, yeah, like I'm not necessarily not hungry when I'm watching the movie. And she was like, how can you watch that and be hungry? And I was like, I'm sorry. It's not that I'm like, I need to recreate this, but like seeing the trial stuff, like, damn, this motherfucker was in here working to make sure that people would die.
It's just like, I saw this tweet that went viral where I think it was one of their like, it was so it was like the scene where one of the victims' sisters was like in court, like testifying. They recreated that scene for the show, and someone quote tweeted it, which was apparently the cousin of the girl who was like the girl who was at the trial or whatever. And she was like, oh, like, this is fucked up. Like, my family never got permission for this. Because it's, like, available content. Like, they don't even need an okay. That's what bothers me, right? If, like, the families, you know, like, well, it is a tragedy, and maybe they don't even want to make money off this tragedy because it's so fucking, like, tragic. I know I said tragedy, like, fucking 4 times, but it's fucking tragic. And maybe they don't want to be reminded of it. But it's crazy how this is just nationally televised, and then you get the people that are, like, oh my God, Jeffrey Dahmer was kind of hot. He would have got me.
That shit is wild to me.
Hear me out. Stop fucking saying that. Like, I can't even think of
how could you say a serial killer that was eating people, like a whole cannibal, was like, wow, he could have gotten me.
And he was literally doing it to minorities so that he wouldn't get caught by the fuking police. Like, he was eating them.
That's, yeah, like, I literally saw the first episode, and I know.
Spoiler.
No, I know it gets a lot, like, crazier from what people have talked about later on. Like, the dude is just fucked up. But just watching that first episode and, like, just reiterating that this was real shit.
This is real life.
Like, this isn't like a based on true events kind of thing. This is like a
true.
This is a true event right here. That was the first time I think watching something where I felt very disturbed and uncomfortable, and like that there was actually somebody out there doing this to people. And like, I mean, back to that, what you were saying, like, I definitely feel like the families need to be compensated for this, just because like you are reopening wounds that, like, at first I was like, oh, like, I mean, just don't consume the content. But like, when it's something that's super
viral,
like, there's no way you can avoid it. Everywhere you look, you're gonna be reminded that, like, you lost a family member to this asshole, or you, like, somebody you know went through this and now they have to suffer, like, reliving that they, like, I mean, this was in like 1990.
Right.
We're now 20 years later, and somebody has to be like, not necessarily that they got over it. How are you gonna get over, like, knowing that a family member got eaten?
You never will.
Yeah. But now, like, it's in their face again. Like, everybody's talking about it. Like, that's insane to me.
And humans probably don't even taste that good, to be honest.
I don't know. I never had any.
I feel like humans wouldn't even hear me out. So if anyone got live flesh,
do it taste like chicken?
Nah, I don't know. It's crazy though. It is really crazy. I really do feel bad for the families. That's the first people, like, I think of when anything like this even starts remotely popping off. It's like these people just have to revisit this thing that's been gnawing at them for fucking years and years and years, and they're just expected to be okay with it. And no one really thinks about that kind of shit, because until I saw that, like, viral tweet with the girls talking about, like, oh yeah, like, my cousin isn't happy with this, I didn't even think about it. Like, I genuinely didn't think about it until it was literally brought to my attention. Like, oh fuck, this is like a real life event. Like, I know, right, Jeffrey Dahmer existed or whatever. I'm not really tapped into serial killer culture. I don't give a fuck about them, but it's scary. Like, it's scary to think about, like, that these are just real people that lived, and we're making, like, I know it's probably not even like a quirky show, it's like a serious show or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of crazy. And right, since you were talking about, like, Twitch and, like, how gambling streams might promote that, do you think that serial killer not streams, crazy, like a show about a serial killer will inspire other serial killers? Like, is that not like a question? Like, that's a genuine, like, question. Like, don't you think that might inspire, like, another fucking serial killer to just start killing or, like, replicating it? Because there definitely have been, like, serial killer sympathizers.
Yeah, right, they try to, and there's also people, like, they're trying to recreate the big kill scene by this person. Like, this person's my hero, or whatever. Like, I feel like somebody out there gotta have a screw loose and is gonna watch that and, like, you know,
get inspired.
Or just you know, start, like, tripping and, like, I'm gonna start this tomorrow. But, like, that's such a small, like, fraction of people that, like, I mean,
but
not
even then,
not justifying the show, but, like, I mean, if that's the case, you wouldn't show anything on TV. You wouldn't show people, like getting robbed, or people, like, you know, doing these crazy stuff, because it's like, oh, like, if my son sees somebody getting robbed, like, maybe they're gonna want to go rob somebody. Like, that's not necessarily the case. You definitely gotta watch out. Like, hey, Dahmer's dad was also fucking weird as fuck. So, like, it was, oh my god, I can't believe my kid do this. Yo, hear me out. Your kid did do it, bro. They're not this saint that you think they are. Kids are fucking wild. And,
like,
I
don't know.
They're like sponges. Like, if I know there's a serial killer, like, a show like this going on, I'm not gonna let my kid watch it. I'm not gonna let, like, my nephew watch something like this. One, he's gonna get super traumatized. I don't know what it's gonna do to him. I don't know what he's gonna, like, understand from it and take from it. I'm not taking the risk, though.
Nothing good. Like, there's nothing good that he could take from it that will help him in any way in actual life.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I know some people were saying, like, this could have literally just been a documentary. They didn't have to go out of their way to, like,
recreate scenes. That's the crazy thing.
Get actors and, you know, get in the mind of the killer. Because I know Evan Peters, like, he's the main, he plays Jeffrey Dahmer in the show. he said that he's tired of playing these like twisted roles. Cause I mean, he's been on I think American Horror Story, was it?
I don't know who haven't.
I just know like he be in the fucked up movies. Like he'll be like playing these roles or be part of these like movies like killers and bunch of gore. And he's like, it's hard to get into that space. It's kind of like the Joker curse. I don't know if you've
Oh
heard of the
yeah,
Joker
where every
curse, where,
Joker has like died.
has died or just like
Lost
been
their mind
like
a little bit.
yeah, lost their mind, because you have to get into these spaces of being crazy, basically getting into the mind of the killer. Like that can be easy, and like people go through extreme methods like method acting or living a certain way to get to a point where they can like recreate this character well, or it'll just be received shit by like the people watching it.
Yeah, wasn't Jared Leto like sending when he played the Joker in Suicide Squad? I think it was like, wasn't he sending his castmates like dead rats and shit like that? Yeah,
He like isolated himself.
Yeah.
Like that shit is wild to me. Like I feel like that isn't healthy, like at all. Like
I mean,
to put actors through this and just for like, I feel like there's no amount of money that I can be paid for me to lose my mind.
I think there was this movie, I forgot which one it was, but where it was like a horror movie and they had to keep like a psychiatrist on set or like a therapist on set to make sure that the kids in the movie were like okay the whole time.
I don't know.
I forgot which movie it was, but there was a movie where like it was so scary and they casted mad kids that they had to like keep bringing like a therapist back in just to make sure that the kids were good.
That's fucking wild, bro. That's wild to think about. Like, maybe we shouldn't be making this if we gotta have an active psychiatrist on the, like, on site to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah,
Like they're pushing the extent. Like, I mean, I enjoy horror. Like, I don't know if I enjoy like necessarily like if they made more of this, I would consume it. Like, I'm just watching it just cause like I'm interested, and like with everybody talking about it, I want to know what's up.
Yeah,
for real. But definitely fucked up, like for the families, for the people involved. Like I don't think this should have been something that is like necessarily made, but like now I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, like, oh, it shouldn't be made, but you're watching it. Like, I mean, me not watching it is not gonna, like, it's already like 95% of people enjoy it.
I don't know, that's like a slippery slope though, because it's like you could even take that, right, that like logic at least, right, not that exact statement but the logic behind it, like, oh, like, I'm not the problem, like, it's still being done anyway. It's like, oh, I shouldn't stop littering. Everyone litters anyway. You know what I mean?
I know, I see. But like,
it's still part of the problem. Like, it's not good either.
Like, yeah, like, I definitely feel like the family should be compensated 100%. Do I feel like the show shouldn't be made? Not my call.
But, like, what do you think, though? Regardless
think,
of it,
like,
it's your call.
No, I don't think this show should have been made from, like, the topic at hand and how, like fucked up it is 100%. Like, what's stopping them from being like, okay, next is like Ed Gein. He already had like,
Who's Ed Gein?
You don't know who Ed Gein is? Another serial killer, like, but he had Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes,
him,
vaguely familiar.
Psycho and Silence of the Lambs are all based on him. Like he would literally make lamps out of people's faces. Like, he'll have like gloves made out of people's hands and stuff. Like, it was so fucked up. Like, if you look up, like, I don't want to promote it, but like you've been warned. Maybe you don't want to be the one to look this up. Stay curious.
Stay curious.
But like, if you look up, you'll literally see like a bunch of stuff that they pulled out of like his house where it's like people's faces. Like,
wait, this was a real guy?
Yeah, this was a real guy. This was a real guy that was like, I can't remember like when he was like active, but it was a real guy that they caught. He was like fucking crazy. Like, he had 3 movies based on him, and like, I know Miguel told me this. Like, I don't want to like take credit for something he told me, but he said that the officers that arrived at his house like to like investigate, they retired within a year because of how fucked up it was. Like, what they found in that house, and like seeing the Jeffrey Dahmer like documentary, like not documentary, the show, like from how they were like, we found 5 skulls in a drawer. We found a human head in the refrigerator. We found decomposing torsos in a pool of acid. Like, we found human hands. We found body parts, fingers, and others. That was just like a taste of like
yeah, of
like what people are capable of, and that shit is fucking insane to me. Like, it's just stuff that like demon hours that you just look up at like 1 a.m. and you just regret looking it up. Like, that shit is fucking wild. I remember like usually, like I said, like stuff like this disturb me, but like serial killers and like the shit that people are capable of, that shit does fucking disturb me.
You think I would have made a good lamp? I just wanted to throw that in there. That's gonna be a good cut. We're gonna be talking about that shit, and then I'm gonna be like, "You think I would have made a good lamp? Good cut, just for y'all."
That's
but
crazy.
it is scary. Those are those types of things that you see at a certain time of night, and then afterwards you have to watch like 5 happy videos to actually be able to go to sleep.
5 bunny videos.
Dude,
like,
that's
like,
literally how it goes though. Like if I watch something scary, I have to watch something not scary right after to actually be able to.
I'm not sleeping. Yeah, that shit is so fucking insane.
It's just insane to think that these were fucking real people that like lived an actual life. And yeah, I don't even know. Growing up around, apparently there's another movie about Jeffrey Dahmer called My Friend.
Oh yeah, that's the one with like Austin, the actor
Ross
from Austin.
Lynch.
Yeah.
Ross Lynch, yeah.
yeah.
Well, apparently it's good. Well, the movie is like about him
Not the
before he
concept.
became like a serial, like before he started committing crimes and stuff.
Mm.
And it's just like, I don't know.
Like something like that, I feel like. Well, I mean, it's still a movie, so.
Yeah, it's
But
a
they're
slippery
not,
slope.
yeah, they're not they're recreating like scenes like that shit. Like I said, like that from that first episode, it was rough. That was actually hard to watch. Just like knowing what's gonna happen, it's just something that like I haven't felt uncomfortable like that in a while, to be honest. And yeah, I feel like I need to move on from this, but I'll creep myself out.
Listen, we're moving on. This is good. We're gonna wrap it up here. We're
Yeah.
already scared the
Go
audience
home.
enough. Let's fucking let them work the rest of their shift or finish their drive home
Yeah.
without having to check their back seat or look into their work closet. Okay.
Yeah, all right, yo.
Listen, this is where we're gonna wrap it up. We're sorry we left y'all like this. Like I didn't mean to. It's Kevin's
just came
fault.
up.
It's literally Kevin's
Yeah,
fault.
You know, I didn't need to expand on it. We could have stayed curious, but
Well, listen, we're
Here
gonna
we
be
are.
back here next week, same time. Keep it up with the reels. We're jacking the reels right now. Keep
more
it up with the
content
love on
coming
the
out.
TikTok.
Please leave a like, leave a comment.
Leave
you
a
know,
like, leave a
share,
comment, share,
favorite it,
it,
whatever you gotta do.
whatever you gotta do.
Tell your grandma.
Tell your grandma
Yeah.
or your grandpa or your sister or her boyfriend or her girlfriend or her partner or
stepbrother.
tell your girlfriend. Tell your friend to tell a friend to tell their girlfriend to check out the content, man.
Yeah, we're putting in
hope-
work over here.
We hope you guys enjoyed. You know, this is a little more of a vulnerable episode. You know,
Yeah.
we talked about some serious shit. Sorry if we didn't make you laugh as much, but it's a rather
like it's
serious
needed.
time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need
Yeah.
to sit down and have a talk, even if it's for yourself.
This was as much for you as it was for us.
For us, like a
Yeah.
little therapy session. So yeah, we're gonna catch you guys next Wednesday, same time as always, 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Take
This
care.
was Juan. That's Kevin. Peace the fuck out.
Mwah.
Mwah.